Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Subs Bench podcast video series 2024. We're joined today on the bench by Isaack Powell. Isaack, it's brilliant to have you with us, and glad you're here.
Thanks for having me on.
Isaack, great to have you here. Obviously we've got a relationship now through Peninsula Power, but your footballing career we'll go through. You obviously were born 2002.
Yep.
Long time ago. In Brisbane.
Hospital, yeah.
Redcliffe Hospital.
Yeah, Redcliffe
Born on the Peninsula.
Yep.
And Peninsula Power is the first club that you played for. I think you said earlier, from under 6s through to under 10s, so
Yeah.
Pee-wees or whatever they call it.
Yes.
I think anyone calls it Pee-wees.
No, we do. I think Peninsula Power's Pee-wees.
Powwows.
It's Pee-wees.
Anyway.
Yeah, when I started, I think it was just on the 6s. But
Let's go Pee-wees.
so I went down there. I think I was 4 or 5, I'm pretty sure. Played with the under 6s, did that season again, and then played through a power till under 10s with dad coaching. So yeah.
Yeah. You've gone on to do, really well. At 6, 7, 8, 9, were you always better than the other kids? And I know you're quite a humble kid, but were you always just that cut above where you were at, and was the potential always there?
I think I was doing well from a young age. Yeah.
Yes, he was better than all the other
He's a
kids.
better Pee-wee than the other Pee-wee.
The bigger Pee-wee.
Yeah, no, I think I from young I thought I was always doing quite well, and then I'm pretty sure in under 8s was the first development programs were starting with through Football Queensland, so I was a part of those from 8 years old, I'm pretty sure. So I'd like to think I was doing all right from when I started.
Yeah, and then you get to under 10s and play for your dad.
I was playing. He was my coach the whole way through from when I started. Yeah, I think he was coaching or assistant coach of my teams until under 12s probably.
Yeah,
and then on and off for a couple more years. Yeah.
So the move from Peninsula Power to Moreton Bay, was that at the time with Moreton Bay? They were MPL at the time, and Peninsula Power would have been BPL still.
Yeah, that's most of the reason. Well, that was the reason why I left. So I left Power in under 10s and went to Albany Creek for the 11s to get ready for the Moreton Bay under 12s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was.
And did your dad go across to coach?
Yeah, I think he was assistant coach when I was playing at Ace as well. Had Jason Groth at Albany Creek, and then at Moreton Bay for a couple of years. So. Yeah, and Albany Creek always had decent junior sides as well. So
yeah, Albany Creek have always been reasonably strong on the north side.
Yeah, they used to beat us. So
yeah,
switched over.
Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. And then obviously for 2 or 3 years, you must have gone quite well, because you moved across to the QAS, which is no longer around in the men's system, but I think it's still around in the women's.
Was that like a case of getting picked up by the QAS? Or
Yeah,
trial?
It came from the 14s nationals down at Coffs. I think there was 5 of us that got brought in to join their squad. Just originally it was to train. I definitely wasn't expecting it because we were a bit younger the year younger than the other boys. So we came in and trained with David Bella and Pat Hedges, which was a bit of a change from what I was used to, but
what was Dave like as a coach? He's pretty strict.
Yeah, he was tough. He
Yeah.
was tough. Yeah, he'll feel like he's like that one coach that prepares you for
senior football.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he was good. Him and Pat were good. Yeah.
yeah. I was with him last week actually, and he saw the Isaack Powell thing behind the Power.
Yeah.
He was asking about you. So, but yeah, he's a good guy, Dave. But I can imagine as a 14-year-old, you're definitely not prepared for that.
Yeah, I wasn't going from pretty relaxed environments.
Yeah.
The whole time up until there, and then we were like the younger guys coming into a squad which had high expectations every week to do well, and we were training the training was much more professional and more days a week. Like we were training here at Meakin Park. So
did that spark you up immediately to reach or to get to that level, or did it take you a bit of time to sort of adjust?
Probably competing at nationals, the 13s, 14s, did that because
that's an eye opener when you're playing against 13-year-olds with full beards.
That was you, Das, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, and I was only pretty small as a kid
Yeah.
coming up against some of those
That was
guys
pretty-
was
Still.
yeah. But I guess that kind of was a bit of a eye opener going down there and playing against the best. Like you're no longer the best. Like you're
You realise there's
small
another
fish in a
level
big
to go
pond.
to.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was good. Yeah.
And at this point, because I know that when you're young, you get moved from position to position, so they can kind of get you used to. At this point, have you identified I'm going to be left-sided, full-back, bombing on? Is that at that point? Is that set in stone that that's where you're going to play?
Probably from under 12s, any rep stuff I was doing was playing left back.
Yeah.
But then club football, I was still playing in the midfield. But I think I probably knew if I was going to kick on, it was going to be at left back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just easier, isn't it?
You and me both.
Yeah. Just on that,
It's not
like,
having
let's
left foot's back.
Hey,
Kids.
let's just throw it out there.
That's true, actually.
What's the easiest position to play in football?
Probably right back.
Coach.
Coach would be easy. You never have a bad
I'm saying
game.
full-back.
If you can run.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yeah,
full-back.
that's why I
think it's-
disagree, because I'm not very good at the running thing. But
Yeah.
The modern day fullback is a bomb on.
Nah.
You need to be able to get up
that's a
and down.
wing back. I believe
But
it's.
like, I mean, back when I'm 45 now, but when I was playing,
You're not showing it.
no, but back when I was playing it, the fullback literally give it to the winger,
Yeah.
and they just started to defend
Yeah.
a winger.
Well, I mean, I only started playing there because we didn't have anyone else that had a left foot. Basically,
Yeah.
you just get stuck there. But
Yeah.
I mean, some like it, some don't. What about you?
Definitely like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
It's more time, more space.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about
I think-
360.
That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing, I think, is like you always know the touch line's pretty much behind you. Anywhere that you can see the whole pitch, it's a lot easier. I do agree with that. Obviously, coming from being a goalkeeper, where I wasn't really a footballer,
Just stand in your cage.
just stand in my cage. But I definitely appreciate, midfielders and stuff like that with their 360-degree vision.
I will say when I first went and played left back at East, I really liked getting the ball and always facing forward and having a bit of space to move into. It's a bit different now because I feel like everything's a bit more compact. But yeah, no, it's fair enough.
And might as well. What's the hardest position to play?
Goalkeeper.
I'm
Probably
pressure of a striker.
attacking midfielder.
Yeah. So me personally, I think goalkeeper probably is the hardest on the pitch, just because you make a mistake. It's,
That's what I'm getting at.
but if it's an outfield, because I think we'd all agree that goalkeepers
Pretty shit at football.
it's difficult, but outfield player, the pressure's on the striker.
I'm going 10, attacking midfielder.
I don't know. Depends on the team, I guess.
Yeah, overall, the pressure to score goals.
The pressure not to make mistakes, like similar to a goalkeeper for a centre back.
You could probably you could argue anything through the spine, I reckon.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Anything.
Because anyone who plays wide's got it easy.
Anyone,
Yeah.
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 All you got to do is get it.
I think centre
Give
back probably, because like strikers, if they're sort of relying on chances being created for them as well, so it's not all on them. For a centre back, you just got to deal with what's chucked at you, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think I don't put it to the viewers.
Yeah, well, maybe we will. Yeah, I think it's a striker. I really do.
fair enough.
Yeah,
Um,
all the glory too.
Yeah, they do get the glory. If they get it right, they do get the spoils.
Yeah,
That's why they're on the big books.
that's it.
So QES obviously goes well because Brisbane Roar come knocking and sign you up. Was that something that you expected? Did you think I'm there or thereabouts the best left back around? If they're going to pick a left back up, it's going to be me, or did it come out the blue?
I was probably expecting it because that was the year they started off the academy.
Yeah.
So I went from the QAS into like the 16s, I think, at the Raw.
Did the
So-
Raw Academy kind of take over what QES
Pretty
was?
much, yeah. So I think most of the boys ended up coming across. So we had a pretty strong team. Yeah, I guess it was like the five of us who were with the QAS, I think just went straight across, plus picked up all the top guys who were playing in the NPL.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I played in the 18s NPL for a few years. I think,
So
couple
when you'd have
years.
been about 15.
Yeah, 15, 16, yeah.
Who was coaching the team at that point?
Grossi.
Oh, Grossi was there.
Grossi was there, yeah. So yeah, it was a good team.
Is this the team that won the Y League?
No, that was the youth team. So I think it would have been at least a year later, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So it was an older team playing in that national comp.
So that could be players who came down from the first team, if they were young enough, could still play.
Yeah, so if, like those AIS boys that came, like Kai, Merza, Bryce, Jay, all those guys were in that team, plus the younger boys coming through.
Yeah. And it's obviously football is going well for you because you're doing so well that at 16 years of age, you get called up with the first team.
Yeah, that caught me completely by surprise, to be honest.
Because that came on the back of the Y League win.
Yeah, I think it was the following.
It was
following
1 week later, yeah.
Honestly, I think I trained with the first team a couple times, like a handful of times before I even played that game. And then I come on in the first half. I think Jack did his ACL, and I think Luke DeVere come off injured as well. So 2 injuries in the first half. So I had to come on, and I think I played about 60 or 70. So I wasn't really even expecting to get on, maybe.
And this is 16 years old.
So fancy at 16, 2 defensive injuries in the first half. Never happens.
Yeah, nah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Did it? You know when you're named on the bench, you're probably thinking, not much chance I'm getting on here.
Yeah.
Bit of experience, soak it all
Best
in,
seat in the house.
sit back. Oh, this is all right, nice and comfy. This, and then half an hour in, Isaac, your pads on, son. Did you have time for nerves, or do you just think?
No, it was a pretty big rush. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to even get on. Definitely not in the first half. So it was massive adrenaline rush. Getting told, like, I think I can't remember who went down first, but when that happened, it was kind of like,
Might get on it.
Here we go. But it didn't, like, we had the cover for that. But then when the second one went down, like within 30 minutes,
It would have been quick as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, if it happens now, and like you're a coach now, so and when someone goes down, you look at your bench and you might be like, 16-year-old has never played before, or midfield. All right, could we move him full back? And he could. At that point, when the second one goes down, and you think, I'm definitely on here.
Yeah, I thought it was bound to happen. Really.
Yeah.
And it was a big game as well. We were playing Sydney FC at home. I think we were down 1-0.
What did it finish? Come on, you know the score.
I think it may have been 2-1.
Yeah, you may have won 2-1.
Yeah. Do you think, looking back, better that you didn't have that time as opposed to getting told on a Friday you're playing tomorrow?
Probably, yeah. I guess it was just had to happen. Yeah, I didn't have too much time to think about it or anything. Just had to jump straight in, which ended up working out pretty well.
See a few young boys getting the nod on a Thursday at training that they're going to have their first appearance and they themselves up until kickoff and carry on.
It's a big deal.
I think I'd probably prefer that.
It's a big deal.
Just get thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
First one goes down, you're probably thinking, I'm going to get my debut. I'm going to get 10. There's going to be the cream time. There's no pressure. And then straight into it, 1-0 down. And you end up beating Sydney. At that time would have been what?
Very strong.
They would have been very strong.
Yeah, I think they were top
two,
maybe in the league at the time.
Who gave you your debut? Was it John Aloisi? Or was it
Darren Davies?
Darren Davies was in by then.
Yeah, he was good with the young boys.
Yeah. And 16, were you at school?
Yeah, I was still in year 12, which was pretty crazy. Back to school on Monday.
So it was a weekend or Friday night or something, and you had to go back the weekend. It wasn't the next morning.
Nah, I think it was a Friday night game, actually. So, yeah, it was a Friday because I had a few mates there.
Instagram followers when you woke up on
Was Instagram even around then? Oh, it would have been, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, mate.
Not that old.
2019.
You would,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You would have been real unpopular with the girls once you made your debut, I would imagine.
What was it like going to school?
You're a real bad looking bloke too, which just sucks for you.
I don't know. It was pretty crazy. It's still school, so it's probably just like felt like what it was.
Did any of the teachers try and cut you down to size? Like, have you done your homework? Like,
nah, it wasn't like that. Well, I guess everyone knew. Like, everyone did know, but I guess being football, like, it's not like I was playing for the Broncos or.
Yeah, I suppose not that big.
But not that big of a deal. No, but I guess everyone knew what was going on, which was pretty cool. Like I had my mates were there,
Yeah.
like in school uniform and stuff at the game. I don't know if it was, I think that game or those few games that I played at the end of that season, I was getting the train from school into Suncorp
To play for the first day.
Yeah, just with my backpack.
Yeah.
How good.
Yeah, just leave school early, walk down.
School backpack.
Yeah.
Isaack Powell written on the back.
So
I'm off.
crazy. I think
Yeah.
one time I seen I was walking from Milton Station up to Suncorp and I seen Dill went to Walsh driving.
Yeah.
And I just jumped in his car and he gave me a lift.
Yeah.
Must have been pretty good chat that Friday afternoon or whenever. So, do anything on the weekend, mate? Nah.
Yeah.
Nothing major.
Yeah, just off the
Send off to
Suncorp.
Suncorp.
Oh, the Bronx playing.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So, and obviously you had a bit more involvement with the first team towards the end of that year, which probably leads on to October that year, the Joey's call-up. So, similar question to before. Did you expect that one, or did that one kind of just come from nowhere? There couldn't have been many 16-year-olds playing first team at that point in the A-League.
Yeah, that one wasn't too surprising. I think during that time I started playing with the Roar, there was a camp over in Turkey with the national team,
Yeah.
which I got called up to go to, but I didn't end up going to. So I think I was pretty hopeful that I was going to get into that squad, which was pretty crazy to play the World Cup, obviously. So yeah, it wasn't a massive surprise, but
And where was it, the World Cup?
in Brazil,
Oof.
which
Did you play against any players that have now kicked on to?
Subsequent superstars.
leading up to it, like national team camps and stuff, when we played over at St George's Park a few games. We played against the England team, played against South Korea, and I think we played against Brazil as well. I remember in the England squad there was that Tino Livramento. He's playing at Newcastle now, doing pretty well. And Morgan Rogers just signed at Villa. I remember those guys were probably the two standout ones. I think they were both on my side.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Easy.
was a good game. So,
Yeah. And then, so you got the tournament, you get through the groups?
Yeah, we made it out of the group. We beat Nigeria. That was our final game to take us through. And then we played France in the round of 16.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was...
What was obviously you go to a World Cup, what's the target? We want to win the World Cup, but Australia,
Target's probably
the target's probably
Get out
not
the group.
winning it. It was getting out the group, something that you just looked at and said, right, let's get out the group. That will be a huge success for us. And then anything else as a bonus on top.
Yeah, getting out of the group was massive for us. But to be fair, with Trevor Morgan, the coach, and the culture we had was pretty strong. I think you see it with the Socceroos like the whole way through. You're not fazed by anyone.
Yeah.
So, like when you're coming up against like squads like France and you see they've got boys playing in League One already, like when we're still like coming from school.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to think you're playing against them, but we never really doubted ourselves. Like our culture was pretty strong. We thought we could take it to anyone, but there was some.
What was the score in that game? Can you remember?
It was 5-0.
5-0. So you always remember the ones you get.
Yeah.
I got caught up in their celebrations, I think on their 5th goal, and I got sucked off in like the 90th minute or something. They were all in a huddle around me, which was fun. But, and they were massive, that French squad. They
Like
were,
men.
Big boys.
Big boys. Big athletic boys.
I thought you
Every
meant you
single
just
position.
chose to join in.
I might as well celebrate.
Take me with you, boys.
Yeah. Yeah. And then must have been long after that. If that was 2019 late, so COVID must have kicked off not long after that, because wasn't that early 2020 that it really took over. So football, I can't even remember. Football kind of shuts down for a bit, and then didn't it come back around about, I want to say like May, June? Didn't they have that 5 or 6 game period?
Yeah, so it was on and off for a long time, like kind of as the restrictions kept getting more and more critical.
Yeah, that's right. It did. So Robbie Fowler's in at this point. Initially.
He was in. And then we got like the whole league moved down to have the hub in Sydney.
Yeah.
So we're down there for 6 or 7 weeks, just in the hotel, going to trainings, playing games still, which was pretty full on.
Yeah.
Crazy time.
I think it was,
It's
we didn't
mental,
get
innit?
much notice. I mean, it was no problem for me because
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, the wife
just
and the
playing
kids and
football.
everything.
Yeah, for like the older guys they had kids, and they had
Yeah.
everything going on. It was
That's
it was
mad,
yeah,
isn't
it was
it?
only a couple of days.
You
I
look back
think.
at that.
When you look
Time.
back, I can't. Yeah. Anyway.
So some of the stuff you see, like, I remember it would have been around that time. It was like the whole team was out for the exercise time. It looked like a prison, like boys just walking around in a circle, basically, like no ball in sight, just getting their steps in.
Yeah, it was a change, but I mean, it was like a holiday for like us young
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. Staying in these nice
Yeah.
hotels, probably.
Decent
Waiting.
hotel.
It was alright. I think we were in like the Hunter Valley or something.
Oh,
down.
sounds
Could be
horrible,
worse.
Could have been a Formula One in Wentworth or
Yeah.
something like that.
Every few days, just get out to a winery. There's probably a winery up somewhere in there.
Yeah, these 17-year-old kids would love to wine swinging off the passion pop. Probably.
Yeah. How was Robbie Fowler? Obviously, superstar back in the day. Was he good crack?
Yeah, it was good. Him and Tony Grant. They were
Yeah, it's
unreal to have around. To be fair,
Yeah,
again, good with us young boys. There was a couple of us like me, Kai, Geordie, Macklin were in and around it.
yeah. Not first team regular starters, but
Yeah,
in that group.
yeah, and they were, especially Tony. He was definitely especially in trainings, just pushing us on to kick on and not just make up the numbers. Really,
Yeah.
give it a good crack. So yeah, it was good having them in. And
were they certainly Fowler? I mean, Grant had obviously played Premier League, but then dropped down a bit. But Fowler, being as high profile as he was he very approachable? If you wanted to ask him a question like Gaffer, what about when you played for Liverpool in this game? Like, was he good like that?
yeah, he was good. He was definitely there to do well.
Yeah.
Like obviously, it's a good reflection on him if the team's performing. So, very easy to talk to. Like, it'd always have a bit of banter and stuff at training, which was good. Still had a decent left foot, so.
Yeah, I can imagine he was half decent at five-a-side. You only need a few yards, don't you?
Yeah.
And he could finish.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'd want him on your team.
yeah.
For sure.
But he went home during COVID. I think he thought, I can't work for the next month or two.
He went,
So he went home.
went home during a round of golf with Alex King, didn't he?
Yeah,
Remember the story floating
rumor
around?
was
where
he just-
he
yeah.
just took off on
Just
that.
left.
got on the plane and went. He
Off
was,
you go.
and obviously it was a bit touch and go whether he's going to come back. And in the end, I think whatever happened. Cancelled the contract or we moved on. And Warren Moon takes over. So, and that again was another, I want to say like a bit of a bubble thing. There's about 4 or 5 games that had to get done very quickly. Were you involved in Mooney's squad as well, or was it very similar to Fowler's, where it's like an extended squad all went down at the same time?
In regards to going down to,
Because didn't they finish the season off in June? I think they played it a couple of months later than what it should have finished.
my memories found me on that one, Benny.
Yeah,
That.
pretty sure of that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Cool. All right. And then around about June 2021, so you've been involved in the first team, played a lot of MPL for Raw Youth at this point. You get diagnosed with leukemia. So how did that come about? It's not something you just go in and get tested for. There must have been something that triggered the diagnosis or the testing.
Yeah, so I was sick for like a couple months, probably leading up to the actual diagnosis. It first started off with like a sore shoulder, just like shoulder pain. So I was getting treated for like just general inflammation in my shoulder from the physio, just because obviously no one was expecting what it resulted to be. So I was kind of just like in and out of training for, like probably a month, even longer. Like sometimes it'd get better and I'd come into a sesh, or I'd just be like doing running with the physio. And then like I just had lots of different symptoms, which ended up being like in hindsight exactly what you'd expect leukemia to
Were
be.
they like bone related, or like did they feel muscular, or at the point where you're just like this is sore? Like, what's the deal?
So the shoulder bone pain was just like a really bad ache.
Yeah.
That pretty bad. It would stop me from doing most exercise. That led into I had a bit of chest pain.
Yeah.
Which was originally thought to be just like infections, like pneumonia kind of thing. And then had like bruising. That's another one.
Yeah.
Those are the main ones. Was the chest pain and the bone pain.
Yeah.
Which was got pretty bad. And I was like in the hospital. Yeah, went in and out of hospital a couple times. Just misdiagnosed with all like sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got onto a hematologist who suggested to get a bone marrow biopsy because that was kind of, at that point I was like a bit sick, like physically unwell, like throwing up, all that kind of thing. And then it was the day after I got that bone marrow biopsy, I got a ring in the morning saying that it was leukemia, which...
So they told you over the phone?
They told my parents, yeah. I think I was just in bed, like at home, yeah.
What, feeling?
Yeah, I was pretty unwell, yeah.
Yeah. So, do your mum and dad, like, when you get up, say, look, we need to have a chat, and sit you down?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I could kind of tell something was up because I knew the biopsy was to rule out cancer. Like, that was the reason for getting it. But I still had, like, no expectation that was going to be it.
Yeah.
So I was my parents were pretty emotional, I guess, as you would expect.
Yeah.
And they just told me what the hematologist said, and then pretty much from there I just packed up a bag and went to the Royal Brisbane for a month.
Straight away?
Same day, yeah.
I suppose that's why they probably said it over the phone. It's we need to act sort of now.
Yeah, it was
get the ball rolling straight
urgent,
away.
yeah.
It's a rough conversation for your parents to have.
Yeah, it was. I guess the whole period of that time was definitely the toughest on them. I mean, I'm just...
Yeah, it'd be a lot of emotions, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Is it one of them things that been through a few things in life where you remember the actual wording that someone delivers news to you, and it, like for me, I remember getting told by my mum that my dad had died, and I'd never called my dad daddy in my life. I'm 11-year-old, 12, just gone 12. And she wakes us up 6 a.m. and she says, your daddy died last night. And I've always remembered the wording, even though it just stuck, like one sentence, it always stuck with me. Is it that kind of thing that you'll never forget being told that information, it just comes out and it's an imprint there?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say the wording, but I definitely remember like
feeling,
the visual image of it happening, and definitely the feeling. Like as soon as Mum said that's what it was, I still remember my heart like just sinking.
Yeah.
But the feeling I definitely remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So straight into hospital, no time, but it's like not having any time to prepare for your debut almost. It's just like, get your gear, bang, we're straight off, and you're straight in for treatment that day. Like, did they start treatment that day or the next morning, or?
Yeah, technically I did start the treatment from the following day, but it was just like high dose steroid tablets.
Yeah.
So there was no like physical
Was
effects.
it preparing you for what was about to
It
come?
was just the first step of the treatment. I think it was a way of like, still treating leukemia. And then I think it was day 6 is when the chemo started, which was, I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. But ended up having a pretty good run the first time. I was in hospital for about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I got a bit sick with the chemo, like throwing up and that kind of thing. But compared to some of the other experiences I've heard, that first month or so wasn't too bad. Yeah.
So is it, like, forgive us for not knowing all of the ins and outs here. Is it how many days per cycle?
So it's dependent on what kind of protocol like your treating team wants to go with. So I was in there for that period of time, and it would be like different types of drugs like on set days. So there'll be like, I had a schedule pretty much. Like each day would be like set drugs that you'd be getting at like a certain time kind of thing.
Sounds silly, but do you or your family have any say on the strategy? Do they say, look, we can do this, it'll be pretty rough, or we can go this way? Like, did they ask you what you wanted to do, or did they just
Not
go,
really.
look, bang, this is...
It was pretty much just, that was like the first step to like treating leukemia. A lot of consent forms.
Yeah.
But that was just the way to go. Yeah.
Given like you were just starting a professional football career as an athlete, like through that time, was there any thoughts of getting back to football? Or is it literally just get through this?
Yeah, I don't think I thought about football for a little while. Because I'd already been kind of out of the game for a couple months. I hadn't played or trained properly for a little while. So I was kind of just trying to get through the next little bit. And at that point, I always knew I was going to play again. Like, I wasn't too worried about it. It was just a matter of time, really.
Cool.
So at this point, I'm assuming they've said to you, look, you're going to recover, get the treatment, we've caught it early, potentially, you're going to recover. Was it that kind of vibe, like that kind of message?
Yeah, I knew I was going to be okay. Like the prognosis was pretty good. They were always quite confident. The type of leukemia I had, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, is the most common type in young people. So that also gave me a little bit of confidence, knowing that they know what they're doing, and there's been a lot of like experience and research on it. So
And how long after diagnosis did you go public?
A couple months, I think.
A couple of months.
Yeah.
So you got the initial treatment. Was that to get your head around the whole situation, or was it just got to focus on this before worrying about the might kind of come attention wise?
I guess I just didn't really want to deal with it too much. And even when I was in hospital, I had a lot of support from lots of different people. Like, I guess people slowly just started to find out. So I spent a lot of time responding to messages and stuff, which I guess was nice, but I just didn't want to. I don't know. And I just didn't want to. I didn't think it was like a massive. I'm just
It's again, probably, as you said, Benny, like with your debut, it's probably happening so fast, being so young, you're almost like naive to the fact that how serious it could be, and you sort of just take everything in your stride when you're young. You're like, I'll beat it. Like, I'm young, I'm fit. So it's probably, not a blessing, but it's like, if there's a way you're going to do it, it'd be that positive attitude, and being like coming from a pro footballing background where you're used to adversity, I guess.
Also having, as you say, the experts around saying, we've dealt with this before, this is what we're going to do. Not a question of should we do this, do that. This is what we're going to do, and it's going to be okay. Must have helped.
And also someone at your age who pretty much every challenge that's been in front of them on a football field, you've kind of gone to the next level. You've overcome every team you've ever gone to. You've got the next level, and you've gone to a World Cup, and you've played first team football. So naturally, you're a winner at that point. You overcome hurdles.
I guess you could look at it that way. It was just, like I said, a matter of time. Like, I knew from the beginning pretty well, like the structure of what I was going to do. Like, I was going to be in hospital for this set 5 weeks. Then I was going to have a break. Then I was going to be back in and out, like week on, week off for a little bit. Then I was going to have a break again. And then it kind of led into like outpatient treatment. So just coming into the hospital for like the day to get the treatment, then go home. So it was pretty structured, and I knew when it should be finishing, although that did change a little bit with like delays and stuff like that. But I kind of had a bit of an idea of like how long I should be going through it for. Were
you affected at all by, I know it was a year on from when COVID came out, but was any of the delays COVID related? Because I know that there was a second wave kind of came through.
The delays weren't really COVID related. That was more just my body not being like
as
ready,
responsive,
or not being ready for like to have more chemotherapy kind of thing. But in terms of the COVID, there was a lot of hospital restrictions on at the time with not having like family members and stuff coming. But the ward I was on in at the Royal was pretty good because there was not really any young people.
Yeah.
I think I only crossed paths with a few other young people throughout my time there. So they were pretty good with letting me like have my girlfriend come up or have my parents come in for a little bit. But the COVID time definitely did make it a bit strange.
Yeah. So from diagnosis, June 2021?
Yep.
So from then till at what point does the last bit of treatment happen and they turn around and say, like, you're clear here, you're okay?
So I went into remission after that first month or so block.
Yeah.
So at that point they couldn't detect any cancer. But the rest of it was just about keeping that away. Yeah. So regardless of how I responded in the beginning, it was always set that first period. But yeah, so after 4 or 5 weeks, I knew that there was no cancer, which was the first bit of relief, I guess. Yeah. And then I think the chemo went through until about January of 2022.
So good 6 months.
Yeah, about 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fantastic. You've been given, I suppose, the health green tick.
Yeah.
But the desire to get back on a football pitch must take over at some point. You think, all right, well, when can I get back on? And at that point, is it a health thing or is it still a bone thing? Because I know that when you eventually come to Power, it was getting the seal of approval from the hip specialist.
Yeah, orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was seeing an orthopedic surgeon because I had avascular necrosis, so a bit of like the blood supply was cut off into some of my joints, which like gave a bit of bone death.
Yeah.
So I was kind of having to wait to see if that was going to heal. So I guess there was a few conversations saying you might not be able to get back to football, but just had to give it time. So I sat around and wasn't really running or getting into football too much or anything, just trying to let it heal. And I think it was about 6 months on, I got some more scans and there was signs of it healing, which was, again, another relief. So from that point, I was kind of able to gradually
start thinking about it.
Get it back in my mind a little bit. Yeah.
So that must have been that was halfway through or towards the end of.
Yeah, I was getting towards the end of 2022. Is probably when I started getting back into some physical activity.
Yeah, because I remember getting a call off your dad, and he said because I've obviously played with your dad over 45s and whatnot, and he rings out the blue one day and just says, Isaac's thinking about playing again next year. And I said, is that why he's come to a couple of Power games? I've seen him on the balcony. And he said, yeah, probably. So we looked to sit down with you at the end of the season. And didn't take much convincing, I have to say. You were pretty keen just to get back on board. And it was still very much at your pace. Obviously, we got in my opinion, the best, medic in football Queensland, I would say, Will Jordan. And he was brilliant with you, and he just said, look, he used to say to us, because it was Rick Coughlin was in charge at that point, and I'm on the staff and Dan Penice, we were all sat there like, when can Isaac play? And Will's like, when he tells us he can play, he can play. And we knew that might not be the start of the season, it might be 4 or 5 weeks in, that's what we and then I think there was a pre-season game, and you've asked if you can have 10 minutes, and you got 20. And then the next one, you were supposed to get 15, and you got 45. And it was at that point, I think, that you just thought, I'm back now. I need to be in.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good. Obviously, it took a while to build up that fitness, but I was doing a bit by myself and with a couple other boys doing some small training sessions, which definitely helped. But yeah, I was, like you said, I wasn't even myself expecting to get back until the early rounds of that year. But played a few games in pre-season, was feeling good, so just kept building up from there, and turned out well for the first few games of the season.
Well, not just feeling good, looking good. I had senior players coming up to me, and they were just like saying, he's got to play. And this is when you weren't supposed to be playing. And in training, you were doing bits and like senior players coming to me going, he's going to play this week. Like he is next level good. So then you get back in the team, you start playing, and we're on the sideline going, we got some player here. But we got off to a slow start in the season.
Yeah.
And if I may, you're not getting up and down as well as what you had in January. And this is getting into March. And at this point, no one knows anything different. But 3 weeks later, you obviously go for a routine follow-up. I'm assuming once you've been in that situation, you have to keep going back and they check and check. Yep. And I just remember, I think it was, you must have told Will Jordan, and he rang me and told us. So what have they told you at that particular appointment?
Yeah, so it was my 12-month routine bone marrow biopsy, and just said that they could detect some leukemia cells there again, which it was obviously tough to hear, but I kind of had a slight feeling. Going back to one of the symptoms of it is the bruising, just really easy bruising. And I think I said to my girlfriend, one night, I think come home from training and there was a bruise on my arm, which I don't even remember getting touched there or whatever. So I think from that point, I kind of had a bit of an inkling that something may have been up. But yeah, it was pretty tough because I think I had a blood test. And then I had to come in for an appointment quicker than I would have originally had to. And then, they just said that they could detect something there. And I think I had the bone marrow biopsy and it confirmed it. So it's a bit of a shock since things were really going well. I was playing football at least and I was back into a bit of uni, bit of work. So, yeah.
Was it worse hearing it the second time than the first?
I think so, because at least the first time, once it had settled a little bit, I kind of knew what I was in for. Had that positive outlook. Not to say that I didn't have a positive outlook the second time, but it was kind of it had come back.
Yeah.
So there was just a bit of uncertainty surrounding everything moving forward from there.
And at that point, they decide that, look, the best way to treat this now is bone marrow transplant, which you've corrected us earlier. It's not surgery, it's treatment. So you've got to find a match.
Yeah. So there's a worldwide donor registry. So anyone who signs up to that, I think through a blood test, or now they're doing the mouse swab over here, can join the registry, and anyone then needing the transplant does a worldwide search to see if they're a match for anyone. But there was no matches for me, no 100% matches for me on that donor search. So the next best option is to look at family members.
Yeah.
So my sister ended up being a 50% match for me, which I was always pretty confident with that. I guess there was no other alternative.
Yeah.
So went ahead with that. She had to get her stem cells collected. So it's they take her blood out of one arm, separate the stem cells, and then give her blood back. And then those stem cells are collected and put into a bag. And that's what I got, essentially a blood transfusion of the cells, which is now my cells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after, at what point do they turn around and say, good job, we're okay here?
It was 100 days after is the mark they use. Do a blood test and a bone marrow biopsy. The blood test, they can do a check to see the makeup of whose cells are still in my body. So the benchmark for that is 100% of my sister's cells, which it was, thankfully. And then the bone marrow biopsy just shows that there's no leukemia there. And then from there, just regular blood tests, still even up until now. Every fortnight, get a blood test and see the doctor. And bone marrow biopsy every year, just to make sure everything's going all right.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Any hesitation from the sister around?
Nah, didn't let her have any hesitation.
Does she like to bring it up every now and then?
Yeah, she does. Well, she's a nurse, so she's kind of in the know a little bit. She's actually working in cancer at the moment, cancer care. So she kind of knew a bit about like what was going on, which
Fair
probably
play.
did help.
Fair play to her, mate.
She didn't have to get you anything for Christmas or birthdays for a while.
Yeah, she does like to remind me about it.
Yeah.
But just let it slide.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
And I got a call in January. I'm at training one night, or message comes through, and I don't think we hadn't messaged for a couple of months at this point. I used training tonight. I was like, yeah, I'm here now. Like just down at AJ Kelly. He was like, all right, I'll be there soon. You must have been waiting in the car park because literally about 4 minutes later, he walks. And because I'd even said to Will, I saw Isaac's popping down, and Kazi, I said, Isaac's. As soon as I've said it, you've walked through and you've come in. We're talking here for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then he just chucks it out. He said, been given the all clear to play football. Straight away, I think Kazi was there, Daft Kazi.
Yeah.
And he was like, he said, you've only got 2 days to sign up or something. And Will's like,
Shut up.
all right, let's sign fire here. And, but yeah, so you've now been training for 5 weeks, 6
Yeah,
weeks?
about that. So to be fair, that wasn't even really that long ago still. I think I'd seen the doctor maybe the week before that, and yeah, they just said, all sweet to get back to football. So I was trying to do a little bit by myself to get some kind of basis.
But you couldn't help yourself, could you?
Is this the official
not really.
announcement?
No, he's back training, yeah.
But is this the official announcement that he's signing for Power, or?
He's only going to play for Power, isn't he?
There's only one club, mate.
Only one club. He's Peninsula boy.
Starting to see the ulterior motives here, does.
So, but now you've done what? It'd be 5 or 6 weeks worth of running.
Yeah, about 5 weeks of running. I think I've joined into
Yeah, a couple
3
of,
sessions.
couple
maybe.
of times someone's come off injured in the middle of a session,
Mm.
and he's chucked his boots straight on,
Just
and he's on the pitch.
Doing the
Well,
stretches down in
Whereas
front of
Isaac,
you.
he was just sat out. There he is, left back.
Ready to go.
So, but yeah, look, I will say this: he knows he's just getting fit. It's 100% at his pace. When he turned us, look, I wouldn't mind getting some games, then we can look at doing it. But we even had a session last week where the lad's only in for about 40 minutes and no one had told him because he's not in the group. So he's turned up to do a full session, and the lads have finished, gone off to watch, I think, the Broncos play. At the pool, we went for a pool session. What he stayed and did his running. So
didn't give me a choice.
that's fair. That's fair.
We spoke a couple of weeks ago about a potential loan system.
Yeah.
So AC Korean are looking for a left back.
Yeah.
So if you want
Can you take pens? They've got a real problem with the minute with penalties.
I might
I've
sub
heard about
myself on it. There's a toe poking in there.
But no, look, it's unbelievable to, given what you've been through for such a young age. And I'll say this, that anyone who ever, brings you up, so what's Isaack Powell doing? Is he genuinely one of the best kids I've ever worked with in football? Unbelievable family, and you're an absolute credit to them. So I'm delighted that you've been given the all clear to resume, and I'm just looking forward to seeing you back on the pitch again.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, Ben. And
So,
hopefully it won't be too far away.
I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting here, like obviously listening, taking it all in, and as a parent now, I felt lightheaded sitting here listening to that. Like I literally had to keep drinking water because I was just thinking what your parents must have had to go through, and it's great news, mate, that you're cancer free now, and hopefully that continues in the future.
yeah. On to lighter stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Dusty, you got any questions that we can lighten the mood?
Yeah, sure. Coming through, obviously you mentioned you played for your dad quite a bit as a kid. Was he one of your sort of inspirations coming through, or was there anyone else in particular that sort of stands out as a bit of an inspirational hero?
Yeah, I think Dad would like to hear that one, but nah, for sure. I guess from my earliest memories of football would be just in the backyard with him, just dragging him out of the house every single day for as long as I could get. So yeah, he played football. Being from the UK, I guess football is obviously massive. So it was only natural for me to get started and start playing. And yeah, he was definitely a massive influence on it. Being my coach as well from when I was 5 through to 12 or 13. So definitely.
Was there when you sort of broke through at the Roar, like was there anyone in that squad at the time that you thought like this guy's ridiculous?
Ada O'Neill was pretty good.
He'd been at Burnley, hadn't he?
Yeah, he had been. Yeah, I think he played against Liverpool. So he was at the Mariners and then he come to us, and just in training he was like unreal, just winning everything.
Sharp.
Up in the Socceroos fold now, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, he's doing well, but he was unreal in training every day. Yeah,
He's a Brisbane boy, wasn't he?
yeah.
Didn't he come through Pinken Bar? Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Brisbane
he's
Athletic.
local, yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Bit of knowledge.
Over here, Tom.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Still late, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just in awe, to be honest with you. But favorite memory in your football, young footballing career, what would that
Young
be?
footballing career.
Well, you're going to play for another 20, 25 years, mate. So best memory in football
His dad's
today.
still playing in his
There you
50s,
go.
isn't he?
Yeah,
On Friday
call
night.
it that. Be at walk football soon. But, I mean, it'd be hard to pass up playing at Suncorp, making my debut. Had all my mates there, all my family there. It was pretty.
Just finished double maths on an afternoon and
Yeah,
got
that's-
to play for the first team.
And obviously, that's unbelievable to get a debut at that young age. But is that where you want to be back to?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to take it as far as I can again.
Yeah.
I'm not really pushing it, rushing it or anything. I'd like to prove myself again as like one of the better players in the league is my goal. So to hopefully push on and do well in the NPL and see where that can take me. But yeah, I just want to prove myself again and see where that can go.
All right, best player you've ever played with and against?
Best player I played with and against. Pick one from my national team.
Yeah.
Probably be Ryan Teague. He's always been one of the top players in our age group. Went over to Portugal and has come back and now is doing well, playing with Victory in the A-League. He's always been if one of the top players our age in the country. Played against, I'd have to take it back to Tino Livramento. That was a massive eye-opener. Him, I guess, being a fullback as well when I was playing left back, like the difference, like ability, physicality, everything going and playing against that national team was pretty insane. And then to see him play at Chelsea and get a move to Southampton and Newcastle was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and he's looks every bit worth it as well, which pains me as a Sunderland fan. But
Do you remember who, when you come on for your debut against Sydney, do you remember who you were up against?
Nah, I forgot his name. It was a foreigner.
Some
check your pocket. He's probably still in there.
I'm still spinning.
Yeah.
I was trying to think who was around at Sydney FC in those days, getting tossed on against, obviously it was a bit late for Del Piero sort of thing, but must have been someone half decent, surely.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Yeah.
Best, pick a five-a-side team of lads you've played at in the local league with or against. So obviously you had a good few years where you'd have been playing Raw Youth, and then you had 5 or 6 games with Power. So in those spells,
8.
Eight?
Yeah.
Would have been 9,
Just
but
count.
the one game I was in charge, I didn't put you under that. I apologize.
Sounds about right.
Unbelievable.
5-side team.
Need a keeper.
Choco.
Choco, yeah.
No hesitation. Choco is unreal. At the back, take Riedo.
Yeah.
Mick.
McGowan.
Yeah. There's 2 left footers, and it's going to be tough.
Clever even further forward if you want. He's playing in midfield now.
Yeah,
anyway,
could
so.
do. Take those 2. Geez, I could have a team full of left footers here.
Sounds like a pretty good team.
Yeah, it does. Wool.
Josh Woolley.
Yeah, he'll be in there.
Yeah.
Does a lot for us at Power.
And then a striker.
Striker. Pengelly. Chuck him in.
Decent team. to be fair.
Reliable. Yeah.
Yeah, decent team.
Team.
And finally, a question to finish off. Obviously, with what you've been through, has your perspective of football changed? So from where you were at 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago, to where you are now, is football completely? Is it a different thing? I know you want to achieve as whatever you can, but do you now look at it and go, it's a bonus if I do?
Yeah, definitely. I still remember walking out each home game at Power when I was back playing, just really soaking it in. Like, at that point, I kind of realized that it, like you said, it is a bonus. And I had been out for so long that I realized, like, I knew what it was like to not be able to play, like not even have the choice of playing. So I guess I was, really trying to soak it in and realize how lucky I was to be back out there, because it was still so fresh, obviously.
Yeah.
I had it. It was easy to relate back to. So I guess, spending so much time in a hospital bed, being able to be back playing football was pretty good. And I guess, now that I'm back training, again, it's the same kind of thing. Like, every time I'm out of training, it's much easier to appreciate it. I guess you kind of take it for granted a little bit when it's just a given, but just trying to appreciate it and soak in every moment.
Jeff, obviously what you've been through, you wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but if there is any particularly young people who get faced with a similar thing that you have, like, do you have any advice for them or anything that you could tell them to keep hold of?
Yeah, I guess it is tough. Like, there's no way around that. Anyone who's gone through something like that, cancer or any other health, like medical issues, it's tough. But the main thing would probably just be to try to keep a positive outlook. I feel like it makes a huge difference. You just got to try find the positive, the light in any situation, and kind of draw on that to get you through, and just look towards the future, because there's no point dwelling on it. Like, everyone's dealt a set of cards. You just got to make the most out of it, and look to see the light.
How old are you now?
22.
That was a pretty mature answer
very
for a
mature
22-year-old.
Play the cards you dealt.
Yeah.
Good.
No, it's good advice, mate.
Yeah.
And I think people can take that into almost every facet of life. So keep living life with that sort of morals, and I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, and fair to say, and I think we've said this before, you've been dealt a fairly hand to start with, but those cards are in now. You'll get some more, make the most of them. We, as a subs bench, wish you all the best. And hopefully we do another one of these in a few years' time, and things are way back where they should be, and look back on this one.
Yeah, 100%.
So thanks for coming in. I know that you're a quiet lad, and this is a little bit out of your comfort zone, but you've been superb, mate, as always. So appreciate it.
Thanks. What an honour to be on the pod. So thanks for having me on.
On the bench. It's like that day at East with me. But look, it's we'll get the link put up for anyone who is keen to see if they're a match for anyone. We'll get that put up. But hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. A little bit different from our usual stuff, but a story I think needed to be told. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more guests, and like, share, subscribe, and see you later.
Hooroo.
Hooroo.